girl, because the world owes me nothing, and we owe each other the world. And I do it cause it's the least I can do. I do it because I learned from you, and I do it just by...
Hi everyone, this is Amelia Duran, and I know I said I was going to come back on Monday, but I don't know, guys, taking a lot of flack, and a lot of people think I'm not being transparent, or I don't know what people are so upset about. Very transparent. I shared my story publicly, I think it was back in 2015 on the National Safe Child Show, as well as in Health Impact News and also medicalkidnap.com. I interviewed, I think it was on August 28th, and about my son being taken by the Department of Child and Family Services with the help of the Porterville Police Department. Very vindictive, like a false setup, basically, by the local law enforcement, and kind of a collusion of my jealous, just very vindictive family members that didn't want me having my son. And at the time, I had a lot of it was about jealous family members, and it was about money and property. But they put me in a cell in a detention center where I was told I was going to spend 12 years in prison, even though I had violated no crimes. I committed no crime, and I was convicted of no crimes. I was so distraught, and I fainted several times in jail. I couldn't handle what was happening to me and my new baby. It's affected me, psychologically. I have a hard time trusting, and but I fought back, and I proved myself innocent in 3 different courts, and I fought for my son for 3.5 years, and I won. I won my cases. I drug and alcohol tested twice a month randomly for 3.5 years. I had a psychological evaluation by Connie Hutsteiner, who sits on the board of mental health there in Los Angeles County, a wonderful woman. And after all of this, my son was returned to my custody. He was taken at 11 months old, and he was kept until he was 4 years old. And he spent, half his life away from his mom. I was in courts fighting for him on every level. I had some problems with extended family members and his father. And I've addressed this, and I've been very public and transparent. I'm not hiding anything. I'm not being deceptive. There was a whirlwind of allegations, and there's been a lot of allegations against me from my family members from the get-go, out the gate, because of my relationship with my mother, and just a lot of jealousy. I was home one evening, and it was right after the holidays, after Christmas time, and I was cooking dinner. My son was sleeping, and I used a half a bottle of wine to marinate some chicken. It's like a Martha Stewart recipe or something I was using. And I put it in the refrigerator. I preheated the oven, and who throws away the rest of a good bottle of wine, I poured the wine for myself. He was taking a nap, And his father was planning to fly in that evening. He had just received his federal license for becoming a airplane mechanic and inspector. But instead of his father being at the door that night, it was the police. And there's like a metal door that you have to get through before you could get through my main door. And I asked him through the screen, do you have a warrant to come in? And I told him it wasn't a good time, that my son was sleeping. And I asked them again, do you have a warrant? But they didn't answer. They actually just forced their way in right through the metal doorway. They claimed they didn't need a warrant, that they smelled gas, and the smell of gas was enough for them to enter my home illegally. They came in and they searched my home for a half an hour, and they evacuated myself and my son. We sat in the living room, and all of this was going on. The dogs were going crazy, and they were ripping apart everything in my home. It was a really crazy scene, and I went into shock with my son. CPS agents arrived, and I couldn't speak. They did a search. I actually tried to stop them, and I asked them again, do you have a search warrant to be in my home? And I was told it was not okay. I told them it was not okay. And the head officer, the lead officer, his name was Officer Gray, proceeded to tell me that he was going through a divorce with his own wife, who was suffering with drug and prescription drug abuse and alcoholism. And that his wife had been charged with alcohol and prescription abuse, and that she was never going to see their children again. And he looked like he was holding on to his billy club, and he looked like he wanted to hurt me. I felt like he wanted to beat me up, and it put me into a state of shock. The evil that was emanating from these officers was just off the charts. There was a very dark feeling that permeated my entire home. Obviously, I was really scared, and we hear so many cases like this, and I've reported on so many cases like this, but to have a police officer come into your home and tell you that, this is about his situation and what he's going through with his family, it was like an emotional roller coaster for me. Before they had come into the home, anyways, they arrested me, and they tried to charge me with, they brought in police dogs, and they did the inspectors for gas vent leaks came in, and an ambulance arrived. We weren't given any kind of breathing apparatuses. They left the dogs in the home. The test later came back. There was 0 drugs in my system. The gas levels in the home were 0. And, I was They arrested me, and they took my son into Child Protective Services anyways, and I was forced to go through a 3.5-year ordeal. They just really did a number. I took it to federal court. I won my case. I was offered a settlement. I declined the settlement, and I wanted to refile another case in a higher court. And at the time, I was working with Tammy Stefano, and she lied to me and my assistant in writing an email and told us both that she filed an extension, the last extension on my federal case. And she actually had no intention of doing so. She was actually lying. She was advocating on my case at the time, and it destroyed me. And I haven't had the strength to go back into that. I've been fighting in the family courts. I just now fought again in the family courts, and there's been so much targeting, so much allegations, so much lies, so much character assassination, so many family members fighting about money and fighting about, just to uphold lies, absolute lies. And I cannot fight against it. I've proven myself in 3 different courts, the juvenile courts, the federal courts, and the family courts. And to me, that's enough. It's enough. I have full custody of my son. I do not keep his father from seeing his son. That is his choice, and it is totally up to him. And that is the truth. And I just want to get that off my chest. And I just want to be happy. And I try to do my best every day. I've been very transparent with publishing my story in medicalkidnap.com. They've been very gracious to host my story on their website, as well as in healthimpactnews.com. I will post a link to the story. And it's just been 7 years of being dragged through the courts, and I finally have found myself in some kind of peace and sanctuary. And, it's really ugly, and that family has to be that way, but it's harder for me to see the hate and the venom that's being perpetuated within the movement and the conflicts. It's just not necessary. The information is out there. I've posted my drug tests. I've shared my 3.5 years stack of drug and alcohol testing on portaltojustice.com. I'm not doing anything. I work very hard. I'm a very devoted, proud mother. And I take a lot of pride in providing for him and taking care of him. He is my pride and joy. So I just want to put that out there, and I hope this resolves some issues and answers questions out there for people that have been wondering. You can go to medicalkidnap.com or healthimpactnews.com. The story is there. I'm not being deceptive. I prefer to be called Amelia. Nobody calls me Amy. I haven't changed. My name has changed, but I'm within my rights to do so. Women, it's totally legal. Women can change their names. It's not illegal. Nobody's ever really called me Amy except for a couple of family members, and that's it. I've always preferred to go by Amelia. So yeah, that's the deal, guys. I'm going to put a link for the story in the comment section below. And I hope this answers some questions for people, and it can finally put some disagreements to rest. And I'm just going to keep taking a break. I know that I have the Roger Tanner story coming up, as well as an update on the Schaefer Cox story. And I will get around to it, because I promised I would do that for some good friends of mine, and I'm going to follow through on that. Anyways, I hope you all are having a great day, and you can subscribe on Spreaker.com. Yeah. All right. Have a great day.